Girls, so today we are going to explore wood some more. We're going to be little beavers, and we're going to explore wood some more because it's just like the most awesome material in the world, and our beavers surely think so too. So, we are going to need, for today's activity, your little cup of shavings, your little container of sawdust, your little empty plastic cup and a lid. You are also going to need this larger cup and your screen and a little bit of water, which I have in my sink right behind me. You don't need a lot of water. We'll get some in a minute. All right, so, and your science notebook. Don't forget your science notebook. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to observe, okay, the material, sawdust and shavings, okay? They have different textures, okay? Now, sawdust is a material that we get after we have changed the shape of wood, which is what we did in our last activity. We changed the shape of wood and we created sawdust. Depending on the tool that you're using to change the shape of wood, that's going to tell you what kind of material you're going to get from that. So we got sawdust. You got very, very, very fine sawdust, but you still got sawdust, which means small, small particles of wood. Say small, small particles. Now, when a beaver is changing the shape of wood with their iron teeth, yes, they have iron in their teeth, you don't really get sawdust as you do more like wood chips and wood shavings. I had a whole handful of the wood chips that our little beaver family created, but I accidentally left it in the pocket of my orange vest at school. But I think you know what wood chips are if you've ever spent time on our playground at school, which I know both of you were at school last year with Mrs. Duffy. All that stuff on the ground around the playground is wood chips. And wood shavings, well, we're going to talk about wood shavings. They're a little different. All right, so you've got sawdust and shavings. And what I would like you to do is I want you to take your shavings, okay, and you don't have to take all of them out, just a little, and put them in, I guess, this big cup, right? Put them in. Actually, no, I changed my mind. Put them in this little cup, okay? Don't put all of them in. Watch me. I'm going to put like that much. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, like that much. Okay? And I want you to take a pencil, and I want you to use your eyes, and I want you to observe your shavings very closely. So you take your pencil, and you just kind of move the shavings around in the cup. Okay? Move them around. All right. So go ahead and pause the video and really, really, really get a close look at the shavings. Observe. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is put those shavings back into their original container. Try not to make a big mess, Mrs. Lewis. Okay. And then I want you to do the same thing, but this time I want you to get some sawdust. Okay? So I have my sawdust. And I'm going to pour some sawdust into my cup. And you could also do this on your paper plate if you want to. It's just easier to pour back and forth from a cup than it is a plate. take your pencil and observe your sawdust. And in your brain, I want you to be thinking about how the sawdust and the shavings are the same and how they are different. Okay? All right. So, now that you've taken a minute or so to observe the sawdust and another minute or so to observe your shavings, what I want us to do now is to create a mixture. And Mrs. Lewis is now just realizing that I probably should have sent you one more cup. But that's okay. That is okay. So just grab any other cup that you have that you can see through. Maybe, or a glass. Ah, I have a little plastic cup here. All right, you could use a glass too. Now what I want you to do now is take some shavings and pour them into the cup. About the same amount as before. So we're not making a big, oops, well, most of mine went in. Let me take some back out. Okay, like that. And then I want you to take some sawdust, okay, and pour that in to the shavings. All right, so now we have just created a mixture. All right, can you say mixture? All right, we are going to write the word mixture. What does mixture start with? Say mixture. Okay, ready? Say me, mix, mix. That's mix. Now I'm going to write the rest of it because the rest of the word's a little tricky. All right, so that's mix. Now we're going to write T-U-R. Oh, there's our growly, grumpy dog, mad at the little toddler, right? And then E. All right, say mixture. We just created a mixture, okay? Let me find my tape. Oh, I think Skyla took my tape. Okay. I'm going to put this right here on my word wall until I find out where Skyla took my tape. Okay, so what do I want you to do? I want you to mix your mixture. Keep mixing. Mix your mixture. Mix, mix, mix. Mix for about, 60 seconds, 1 minute. Okay, so after you've finished mixing, I want you to look at your materials and tell me, where is the sawdust? Where are the shavings? And do you know the difference between the two, the shavings and the sawdust, because you spent time observing? And so we now know that the sawdust, after mixing, eventually all falls to the bottom because it's small particles. And those small particles are going to fall to the bottom. And the larger particles, the shavings, stay on top. Now, this is the fun part. We need to put water in this container. And then I want you to take your mixture and I want you to pour it onto the water, but then don't do anything. Again, you're going to observe. You're going to observe what happens when you take your mixture and pour it on top of the water. Okay? So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to observe. So I have my materials here. And I'm going to observe. So you don't have to pause the video now because I'm doing the same thing you're doing. It's been about 30 seconds and I'm definitely seeing some things happen. All right, so I'm not going to say what I see happening, but I hope you're seeing the same thing I am. Now, you're going to take your stirring stick or your pencil, or even if you've been using a little spoon, and watch what I do. I'm going to go into the water, and I'm going to just stir it, I'm just going to kind of agitate it a little bit. I'm just kind of poking. Okay, and I only did it like 4 or 5 times, and now observe. What is happening? I'm going to do it a little bit more. See what I'm doing? I'm just kind of poking and prodding a little bit. What is happening? Now give it a little stir. Just a little stir. And observe. So hopefully what you are noticing with yours is the smaller particles, the sawdust, is floating is sinking to the bottom. And this is kind of funny because every single time we would put this wood into water, what would it do? Float. It would float. All of this wood would float. But when you have little itty bitty teeny tiny pieces of wood, you see, hopefully you can see, that the little sawdust pieces are slowly sinking to the bottom. This is called waterlogged. Say waterlogged. Waterlogged. When wood gets waterlogged, which means filled up with water. Wood is like a sponge. Wood sucks in and absorbs water. And when wood gets waterlogged, waterlogged, it sinks. It sinks. Okay? Waterlogged. My daughter took my tape, so it will go here. Oh, perfect. Eventually. Okay. So, thank you for bearing with me. So now I have all of this wet material. And they're still slowly but surely becoming waterlogged and sinking to the bottom. See all those little particles sinking, sinking, sinking? The smallest particles obviously get waterlogged the fastest. And that's why once they're filled up, it will sink, 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 sink. Okay? So now I need to take care of this because this is a big mess and we need to keep the materials. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to take your little screen and your mixture and you're going to go over to your sink and you're going to slowly dump out your mixture into the screen. Okay? Then you can take your empty cup and put it under. And now you'll have your mixture on top. And we'll just let that water kind of drip there for a second while you get your plate ready. So we need to dry this mixture. How can we do that? What do you think we could do to dry this mixture? We don't need to dry it right now, but what do you think is going to happen if I keep this mixture out in the open? Yeah, it's going to dry up eventually. So we're going to dump it onto the plate, okay? And we're going to try and get all of the wood chips out of our bowl. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take your pencil, or if you have a little popsicle stick, or if you have a spoon, and I just kind of want you to spread out your mixture evenly across your plate, because we're going to learn a new science word right now. I am going to assume that most of you right now have a nice, warm, heated house because it has been quite cold lately, and as much as we hate to do it, we have to turn the heat on. Okay? So what heat does to water is it dries it up, or it causes it to evaporate. Can you say evaporate? That is 4 syllables. Evaporate. Okay? 4 syllables. Water is going to evaporate. I'm going to spell it. That's evap. Or there's our dog thinking about biting that baby and then saying, or maybe I shouldn't. 8. And A is saying her name there because King Ed is here saying, who's that vowel in my line? Evaporate. Evaporate means that the water is going to leave whatever it is that it's wetting right now, which we're going to say our mixture, our wood. The water is going to leave the wood, okay, and go into the air. I know, weird, right? Water leaves things and goes into the air. Yes, that's what evaporate is. How many of you have seen somebody cooking, and boiling water on the stove? All of that steam that you see because of the hot water, that is all water that is turned into a gas and is now going up into the air. If you take hot showers and your mirror steams up, okay, that is all water that left the shower, moved into a gas, turned into a gas, and went into the air, and then it landed on your mirror or onto your walls because it didn't have anywhere to escape to. All right? So that is evaporate. If we are outside, okay, and if we say we had a rainstorm, okay, and left a big puddle in our backyard, but then the sun came out and it warmed up the puddle, slowly but surely, the water from the puddle would turn into gas, and this happens so slowly that we can't even see it with our eyes unless it's like boiling water. Then that's happening really, really fast. So that puddle slowly evaporates, that water turns into gas and goes up, because there's no walls outside, and it goes up into the sky until it can't go any higher, and then this big white fluffy thing forms in the sky. Do you know what that is? Yeah, it's a cloud. That cloud was once the puddle in your driveway. Those clouds were once water that was in your swimming pool. Those clouds were once part of the rivers and the ponds and the streams that we have here on Earth. And every time we have warm, sunny days, our beautiful sun warms up all that water. And then slowly but surely that water turns into a gas. It evaporates and it goes up, and turns into a cloud. And then the wind comes and it blows that cloud somewhere that needs rain. And then once that cloud gets so full of water, it just can't possibly hold another drop. Down comes the rain. And then the whole cycle happens all over again. The rain comes down. It makes all kinds of puddles. The sun comes out, heats the puddle. The puddle gets warmer. The water turns into a gas. It evaporates and it goes up, makes another big giant cloud. The wind comes and blows that cloud somewhere else, and then boom, it comes down as rain again. So the puddle that was in your driveway yesterday might be in my driveway today. Or the water that's in your swimming pool, okay, one hot sunny day after a good rainstorm might land in my swimming pool because the water moves wherever the wind tells the clouds to go. And this is called evaporate. And we can see evaporation when we're cooking, we can see it when we're showering, and we can observe puddles out in our driveway. And we're going to observe evaporation right now, okay? Because we have some wetness here. But this is what I want to do. Don't dry this out. There's a little bit of water in there, see it? Okay, and there's water in our wood in our wood chips. We're not gonna put these away. We're gonna keep them out in a warm space. Okay, so if your kitchen's nice and warm, keep them in a warm kitchen. If your living room's nice and warm, keep them in your warm living room. Okay, the warmth is gonna be like the sun. And then I want you to take this cup, okay, and I want you to put a tiny bit of water in it, about the same amount of water that's in the bottom of this. Okay, if there's no water in yours, go ahead and add a little bit. All right, so maybe I'll do that. Okay. So I've got roughly the same amount of water in both containers. Okay? Now, to prove to you that water turns into a gas when it gets warmed up, and then that gas allows it to float up, and away to dry things up, we're going to trap that gas. Okay? We're going to trap it. So I want you to take that lid. I want you to put it on your cup with water in it. But this cup, no lid. Okay? No lid in this cup. All right? And we're going to see, we're going to leave these out in the same place somewhere for a couple of days. Okay? And we're going to see what happens, okay, to the water. Okay? Is it going to evaporate? Is it not going to evaporate? Will one evaporate and one not? We don't know. Okay? So, we're going to leave those out. You're also going to leave this out. And we're going to see what's going to happen to these this mixture of wood chips and sawdust. So this lesson was pretty full of a lot of information. You learned about materials that come of changing the shape of wood. When we change the shape of wood, we end up with new materials. Then we can take those new materials and waterlog them, right? Waterlog, which means that it's going to absorb so much water that it possibly cannot hold any more water, and it comes down. Now, I just talked to you a moment ago about another thing that gets so filled up with water that when it possibly can't hold any more water, what starts to come down? It's the same thing. The clouds get waterlogged. Too full. Too much water. So much water that it has to just release and come down. We kind of saw the same exact thing happen with that sawdust. It just rained down slowly when it couldn't hold anymore. All right? So in your science notebooks, I would like you to write about how sawdust and shavings are the same and different. Okay? And then I also would like you to draw your cups of water and maybe make a prediction about what you think is going to happen in a couple of days with the water. Okay? All right. So I hope you enjoyed this activity as much as I did. And tomorrow, we'll look this over again. Okay?